I don't know if it's my feed only, but I keep seeing these posts online of people that have lost all notion of a positive future. We're constantly reminded that things just may not work out, and it's a bit scary. There was one post though that sparked my attention because it was a bit different than the other ones. You see, if you post something like this in the Gen Z subreddit, you're probably gonna get people being like,
I thrive off negativity. Anything negative, I'm for it.
but this was asked in the Solarpunk subreddit, a place where people actually are hopeful about the future and they're creating one. And the question was simple: how can you even be hopeful? And honestly, at first I had the same question, but after a while I've realized that I know exactly why hope is such an important thing and why they actually have it as opposed to other groups. And it's that Solarpunk see hope as a method, as a tool, and not as an end goal. Let me explain what I mean. Hope as a method was first proposed by anthropologist Hirokazu Miyazaki while he was doing his fieldwork in Fiji. His research focused on the Suvavou people and their more than a century-old battle for reclaiming their ancestral land. Most outsiders couldn't quite understand how and why would they be hopeful after 100 years of constant disappointment. But after spending months with the Suvavou people, Miyazaki realized that we need to rethink hope in order to understand why it keeps arising. We must understand hope as a tool, one that reorientates our knowledge production and our collective efforts into the right path. And I feel like this is one of those concepts that sounds really smart, but you don't actually know what it means in practicality. But this is connected as to why we even do things in the first place. Why do we acquire scientific knowledge? Why do we try to make our streets better? Why do we write art in such ways that move thousands of people? The truth is, most people work towards a better future. Now, sometimes we don't quite agree on what that is, but throughout our history we can see countless of times where that has worked out. Now, you doomer, you might be thinking, what about the 1,000 times it hasn't worked out? And yeah, honestly, I get it. But the cool thing about hope, I think, is that it has a bit of an answer for that. To be hopeful is to understand that time is not a linear matter. We progress in certain aspects, but we definitely go back in others, and that's fine. That's how life works. For Suvavou people, this meant not dwelling on every single time that colonial and post-colonial forces fucked them through bureaucracy and their systems. But instead, they focused on the times where their efforts worked, when they played the game that the Fijian government wanted them to play, getting new hearings and documents that proved that they were the rightful owners to these lands. So how are you going to use hope as a tool? What are the times of the past that have shown you that things can work out? And honestly, if you still have reservations on this topic, I would like to share a really good reason on why you should be hopeful.
People frequently ask me how they're like, isn't it really depressing to do this work all the time? And I always think, isn't it really depressing not to? Like the not doing would be far more depressing to me.